Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Your local bedhead here. It's been a few days since I've posted, and mainly because of work. It's been mainly because of work, and again, I'm not feeling too good lately. Again, there's been a flu going around within this area. It's been kicking a lot of asses, and my whole family had it, and we just kept going back and forth, and it was getting to the point where it was not even fun to sit in front of a camera and talk, because every 2 to 30 seconds, you all of a sudden my throat would get clogged up, or I would start it was bad. So I just decided not to film. Let's talk about the situation really quick. This is the last time I'll probably talk about this. Everybody's kind of dropped it, which is a good thing. I mean, it's kind of blown over to for the most part. It's become really a toxic wasteland. It has become with this controversial topic, which is the Ouija brothers and the video they posted, which you either believe that it was morally right or morally wrong. You either agree with what they did or you disagree. And it seems like both sides of the mix are getting just as much equal kind of backlash if they discuss it with, just the everyday fan. It went to go and show that the Ouija brothers themselves, and, every community has one, a couple or a few, or a mob mentality, where if you genuinely talk about something regarding the channel that you love in a light that may not be the most positive, and you just genuinely disagree with what they did, this stirs up a mob mentality of people who feel like they are doing the right thing by going over to a channel who had a difference of opinion and just throwing waves of horrible comments, toxic comments. I've gotten the comments. God only knows side-eye guy's gotten those comments, even worse than me. But there was a reason why he did, and that was because he jumped into a Ouija Brothers live stream where the audience basically had an opportunity for them to feel better about themselves by making sure the side-eye guy on live stream saw the messages they were getting across, as if they were trying to defend their Ouija brothers, and it only came off as nothing more than all it did was showed everybody how toxic and how horrible people can be over a difference of opinion. I stand by my opinion that video was a bad error in judgment. I realized they reposted the video. I realized they blurred out all the images. I did watch the clip from the beginning to hear what they had to say. I actually did a reaction to that. I haven't posted the reaction. I'm not too sure if I will. Not because I'm afraid to show my opinion, but this has kind of died down. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to go ahead and post my personal thoughts on that, there's a lot of points where I agreed with them, and there were certainly points where I disagreed with them. Having said that, though, I genuinely hope that everybody can just stop what they're doing before you say any stupid-ass comment that revolves around you hope a natural disaster takes out one of us, because you're just so... What doesn't make sense to me is that apparently people like me who just genuinely disagree with what the Ouija brothers did are a bunch of easily offended individuals who shouldn't be watching these videos anyways, but for some reason that when they hear somebody else's fair criticisms, in my opinion, what the side-eye guy said were absolutely fair criticisms, they have to go into the comment section and leave some of the most heinous comments you can possibly ever think of. It literally makes no sense to me. I personally believe that this is a sticky conversation to have, because when it comes to the Ouija brothers, this is a group of people who are genuinely very well known within the paranormal community, and not just for clicks and views, but they are actually well known because they go out and try to find real evidence of the paranormal. It's not about running out of the building when something falls, or it's not about believing in the most silliest of equipment. It's about actually trying to document and find real evidence. So when they went out and did something like this, nobody was expecting it, especially on that level, because a lot of people really felt that it just didn't match what we all know about the Ouija brothers, or what everybody else knows about the Ouija brothers. That's why a lot of people were thrown off by the entirety of the video. At one point they said that they put up a disclaimer in the beginning of the video, and one of the posts even compared it to going to a comedy club, which I guess I understand to a degree, but I still feel like when you go to a comedy club and you go watch a comedian, most of the time you at least know who the comedians are, right? I mean, most of the time, so you have an understanding of what could happen. With the Ouija brothers, it was a bit different only because, again, they have said in previous videos that they have never done something like this before. This is something they have said reoccurring times. So when everybody went into the video, right, for the people who are genuinely still disturbed by the imagery and even unsubscribed from the Ouija brothers and still were mad about the Ouija brothers, you got to keep in mind, too, that the Ouija brothers themselves, when they were making that video, were talking about the audiences could hate them for this. So they had a little bit of an understanding of what the controversial side of it could be. And it happened. And I think it's because nobody was expecting them to do that. So when it does happen, it's like, oh my God, we thought you guys were awesome and nice and yada, yada, and respectful. And there's a reason why I think a lot of people flipped on them. And I do not think they deserve as much heat and hate as anybody else. I do not think they deserve it. I don't think they need it. I don't think anybody needs it. So let's all calm down. It's a difference of opinion. Okay, there are a lot of things in that video I still do not like. I've reacted to some pretty dark, disturbing shit. I've reacted to serial killer documentaries, TV shows, things like this, where most of the people who were involved with these serial killers had already moved on or are no longer among us. And this is something that has gone down in history as being probably some of the most disturbing stuff that's ever happened. I have listened to that, but this felt more like a private situation. It just did. It just did. It feels like I should not have been in that house looking at Alan's ID, looking at whatever was left of him. I should not have been in that house doing that. Regardless, there was a disclaimer. I knew what I was getting myself into, but does that still make it right at the end of the day? I don't know if it 100% makes it right regardless. I understand what they were going for, and it just depends on the person who's watching it. That's all. It just depends on the person who's watching it. Some people were not offended. Some people were not disturbed. Some people were disturbed, and some people were offended. And a lot of people put themselves in the situation of the family who would have been involved. I don't think anybody would want that happening to themselves. So there's so many arguments you can make here. And I don't blame anybody for still continuing to watch the Ouija brothers. And I still don't blame anybody for people who don't want to watch the Ouija brothers after this. It all adds up. It all makes sense to me. It's like, okay, I get it. But what happened to the side-eye guy with the death threats and everything, like they hope he dies, blew my fucking mind over the fact that he had a fair argument to make against their video and still got the comments like that. People are so hell-bent on defending certain channels for actions that are not always 100% positive that they will even say shit like that. It blows my mind. The Ouija brothers didn't deserve it. Side-Eye guy didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves it. If they want to speak their opinion, which is the point of doing YouTube and having a reaction, that is what you're going to get. Okay, if I were to put a disclaimer in the beginning of this video that stated, I'm about to give my opinion, so after this point, if you decide you want to leave a death threat, well, you were warned about it, so why are you still leaving me hate comments and getting all so mad? You had the option to watch, but you still chose to watch and still chose to leave a heated comment. I could do the same thing and have the same exact argument. You know what I mean? But does that make it right? No, it's not going to stop people from having their opinion. The thing here is, I think the main thing here is just to accept what they did, accept what their ideas were and what they thought they were doing. Be like, okay, that's fair, but you also have to understand my point of view too. And look, they have been very understanding. That's the thing. The Ouija brothers have been very understanding about everything that people have criticized. I'm not sure if they were, they expected the amount of heat they got, but I think a lot of people were, I think everybody, for the most part, can understand all points of views here. When it comes to going into locations where there are potential things that are in the building and you still go in there to film it, you're only going in there for one thing. And they did say in the video that the reason why they showed the ID was because they wanted people to know Alan as who he was. So they wanted to give you more of an idea of the man that lived in that house and what yada yada. And I have to sit here and think to myself, that's a fair point of view, but only a point of view I could accept if the family themselves said, we allow this. You get what I'm saying? Because I don't think anybody, I think anybody could look at that and say, okay, I get where you're coming from, but that's my dad. I don't want his ID showed online. And I know my dad more than you do. I don't think he would want his ID showed online to everybody around the world. I don't think he would want his remains or whatever was left of him shown around the world. That's an even more fair argument to make, because it's okay, well, he knew the dad. He would probably know what he would want, right? So, if there was permission and all of that stuff, I would be more for it. But I don't think they had that permission. So there's just so many arguments, guys. Nobody deserves to die. Nobody deserves to have natural disasters swoop in and take them out because they simply disagreed with what they did. The Ouija brothers did. If it was any other channel, I would have said the same exact thing. I said it about Overnight. I said it about Logan Paul. I said it about all of those content creators. And it's not just being butthurt or offended. I think about sometimes what is morally right within those situations in the context of what you're doing in the video. I'm going to start posting again. And I hope you all take care. Please just let's stop with this mob mentality, bully mentality, jumping on people's channels and just letting loose. If you disagree, leave a comment. And you look, I'm not saying you can't do that. If you want to do that to me, that's up to you. But it's not going to change my mind or opinion about it. Take care, everybody.
Reactions are nothing new. However